MLB First Pitch on Wager Talk TV. It is Friday, August 21st, and we are live as we are every Monday through Friday, 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific for Wager Talk TV's MLB First Pitch edition. Reminder, bonus episode this weekend, Matt Josephs, Dave Koken, I'll be here as well, Saturday and Sunday, 12 noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. Tremendous value on those weekend shows. You get a lot of daytime games starting right afterwards, and we've had a huge viewership and following. Let's keep it going this weekend. Noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific for MLB First Pitch on Saturday and Sunday. And then, of course, every weekday, Monday through Friday, this time right now live, 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific on Wager Talk TV. I'm your host, Steve Merrill. I'm joined by Matt Josephs, Dave Koken, Brian Leonard, and we've got the Virginia-Vegas connection today. Virginia on top, Vegas on the bottom here, and we got a good show here, guys, with some great baseball information. Matt, I'll start with you. I think you've been red hot the last couple of days. 2-0 sweep, 2-0 sweep. By my math, that's a 4-0 sweep the last 2 days. What you got going for Friday?
Yeah, very nice. Eric Hosmer helped out the DFS people because they gave him out during the DFS segment yesterday, and then he got me my first 5 with the Padres. So, yeah, 2-0 the last 2 days. I've got one 4% play up out there on sportsmemo.com, and then another one for my all-access clients as we look to continue on this hot streak.
Dave Koken, speaking of hot, that would be an understatement. Is it a 21-8 now the last couple of weeks, all sports?
No, that's the baseball best bet since
baseball. Okay.
Yeah, since MLB returned. KBO continues to do well, although there's some concern that league might get shut down.
Wow.
The outbreak of the virus has returned, and they're pretty strict on their guidelines there. So we'll have to wait and see what happens the next few days. Hockey's been good, going back to before the shutdown. So I'm pretty happy, and we've got the special going on right now. It's kind of handicapping's funny too, because yesterday I had a lot of plays. Yesterday I ended up with 4 baseball plays in a hockey game and went 4-1. I've got a hockey game tonight, and that's a free selection. You can get that if you check out the Koken's Corner video. Just go to my page at Wager Talk, and that's the easiest thing as far as getting that goes. And I've only got one baseball play as of now, but I do like it quite a bit. And the promo code that you see on the screen right now, it's good through Sunday, and it's 50% off anything that I've got, any one product. So if you want to buy one game, that's fine. But if you want to buy a week, you get 50% off, a month, a full season, even the annual package. You save a ton of money on that one, and it's all 50% off. So take advantage of it.
Yeah, I mean, not only are you going to put money in your pocket over the next year, Dave has a mathematical statistical edge. He's been doing this for decades. But if you do that annual package, Dave, it's basically like putting $1,000 into your bankroll, because I think that's what you save almost.
Yeah, and the thing is, it really depends on the type of handicapper. For guys like Brian and myself, we're not high volume guys. We're pretty selective, and I think this is fair to say we're grinders. We just do it every day and find what's got value and go with it. And that's why you don't see a lot of big plays from me or Brian, but we're really successful doing it the way we do it. And I'll let you take it from there, Brian, because I know that's your style. We're very much the same as far as that goes.
Yeah, we both were kind of talking before we got on the show about some of the websites we've been on in the past. And a lot of them, all they care about is sales. And, there was one on where they had like 50 handicappers, and I had the 4th highest win percentage, but I didn't have enough big plays, so they kicked me out. How the hell do you run a business kicking off your top handicappers just because they don't put up enough plays? The reason why we don't put up enough plays is because we're trying to win. If you want, there's guys years ago who would put out 12, 13 plays a day. If you want to be that guy, that's not us. I mean, Dave and I have been doing this for at least 40 years. And, Steve's been around a long time also. And you just can't continuously throw out a lot of stuff and expect that win percentage to be high. I have one play today. Once again, I did lose my NBA play yesterday, but I did have the Giants in baseball, wire-to-wire winner. The last 2+ years, we tripled our clients' bankrolls in baseball. Baseball is what I do best right now. And if you're looking for the long haul, join somebody for the long haul. You save a lot of money. You don't have to worry about the ups and downs. You don't have to worry about choosing a different handicapper every day to see who's hot. These guys have done it. And our whole site He's got veteran guys. We've got young guys like Matt that have just done very well. It's a great group of guys, and I'm proud to work with each and every one of you.
Yeah, one thing I love about it too, we all have different handicapping techniques. I've had a good baseball season. I've had a great NBA start as well. NBA tip-off, by the way, follows this show live at 3 Eastern. I'll be back for that. And I think it's not a coincidence that I'm doing these shows. I'm feeding off you guys. We're trading information. We're all having good seasons. And we're going to keep it rolling. As Dave said, 21-8 for baseball so far. And he's been doing the show each and every day. He's got his Cal Ripken streak going. Matt Joseph's been doing a lot of shows this week. He's 4-0 the last 2 days, all sports. By the way, I don't do a lot of big plays either. I've only had 2 5% plays. Everything else is pretty much 4% for me. But I've had 2 5% plays in the NBA. The only 2 I've released so far in Wager Talk all month. They both have won. I do have another one going today, and it's a daytime game at 4 Eastern. So I will point that out. WagerTalk.com, a rare 5% play for me in the NBA. We'll have more information, of course, right after this show on NBA Tip-Off. Guys, let's get into some baseball. Matt, I'll start with you because your Phillies are the first featured game today. Your Philadelphia Phillies. And, Matt, I want to get your take on this one. We got Phillies-Braves. It's an AL East matchup. They're done with the Nationals. The Braves now get the Phillies. What do you think, Matt Joseph?
Well, I mean, a couple of weeks ago when we did this show, I questioned about Aaron Nola if he had pitched like an ace. Well, this month it's a .86 ERA in 21 innings, 30 strikeouts, 3 walks. He's throwing the knuckle curve now, and it's really bouncing nicely with the fastball that he's painting the corners with, and that's going to really help him out. He just saw this Braves team about 11 days ago, 10 strikeouts in 8 innings. He was really good, and he's going to have to go 7, 8, 9 innings because this bullpen's a joke. I mean, it's amazing. They blew both games yesterday in Buffalo. They blow the 7-run lead in the second game, and it's just, it's going to put strain on these pitchers when you look at this team. On the other side, I mean, I continue to give Tony credit because Max Fried is the best left-hander in baseball. Key stat here, he has not given up a run in the first 4 innings of any of his 2020 starts yet this year. The one thing I am concerned about, he's coming off throwing 103 pitches in just over 6 innings against Miami. Last year, he threw over 100 pitches 3 times, and the starts afterwards, he allowed 9 runs and 17 hits in 17 in the third innings. So it's a bit of a concern. We talked about it yesterday with Marco. When these guys strain themselves a little bit, is there any residue showing in this second start? To me, if you're looking at anything here, you're looking first 5 innings. You're not going to get involved with the Phillies bullpen unless you like the over. But to me, this is a first 5 inning under, and I just hope that the right Aaron Nola shows up, not having to worry about the bullpen.
Yeah, Dave, it's something to see Fried at a pick-em price, isn't it? I saw a stat coming into the week. I think, his ERA was like 1.3. The rest of the Braves was over 7 for the season. How do you handicap this one with 2 good pitchers?
It's funny because I was smiling when Matt was talking about Fried off the 100-plus pitches because it's actually that's what got me away from the game. I had put a big circle around Atlanta saying, boy, this looks like a real nice take at this price. Not that I have any disrespect for Aaron Nola. He's throwing the ball really well right now. But, that's when you make your original choices and then you start fine-tuning. Because I can have like 8 opinions on a card, and then it's, okay, let's see what I can find here. And I'm actually knocking plays out. And that's what knocked me off this play was that worried me about Fried. Because, I really don't want to trust – I don't want to trust any bullpens particularly. The Phillies bullpen I certainly don't trust. But the Braves, and Nola is pitching well. It should be pointed out, Nola's one bad start was on the road this year. I think the Braves win, but there's just no particular value in it to me. I made the price, let me get 40, I made it 120. So it's borderline for me. If Phillies money shows in this game and I can get even money on the Braves, I might take it. But as of now, it's just a lean.
Yeah, Brian Leonard, any interest in maybe the best pitcher in baseball to pick 'em price head home?
Yeah, it's interesting here when you take a look at this game. I've gone both ways on this game. Don't know if I'm going to get there either way. Nice by Matt talking about teams, pitchers giving up obviously 100 pitchers more. Last time Nola gave up 100 and pitched the next week, his game score 31. So it does happen. People do get tired. He did have 91 pitches free to his game before that. But what I found really interesting is just with the last 7 starts, it could be even longer than that. Fried has not given up a home run. which is amazing. In 29 innings this year, no home runs. Nola, for example, 26 and a third, 3 home runs. But that includes like his last 2 starts last year, and it may even go back farther than that, where he has not given up a home run. Now, he's a great pitcher, but the home run part has a lot of luck involved. There's a lot of pitchers out there that will give up a solo home run just to get around a guy and get him off the bases. But to go that long without giving up a home run, you're overpaying for a price on Max Fried right now. I don't do a lot of props, but I've got a couple guys that I know that do strikeout props, and they both like the over for both of these pitchers today. Sort of a differential from what we just talked about with throwing over 100 pitches, because Nola did that last time out too. He had 102. So a couple of angles there going different directions, but that's what I've heard here. I haven't played anything in this game, so I'm probably going to sit this one out, but definitely want to watch this one. This should be a good game.
Yeah, one other note, by the way, and again, it's not exactly talking about a huge sample, but the Phillies do have an 831 OPS against lefties so far. Something to think about. That home run, that non-homer streak could come to an end tonight.
What jumps out to me too, guys, if both pitchers are solid as starters, if you like the Braves, I'd look full game. If you like the Phillies, I'd look first 5, because a huge difference statistically, at least in the bullpens. Phillies has been pretty ugly this year. Atlanta's has been pretty solid overall. Let's look at the Chicago matchup here. Cubs, White Sox. Matt, this game at Wrigley totals 9.5, so I guess the wind's probably blowing out a little bit just based on that. Another one around a pick 'em price. I'm seeing the White Sox as a slight favorite here, minus $1.10 favorite. With Dallas Keuchel on the mound against Lester, 2 former aces. What are your thoughts, Matt?
I mean, the 2 veterans who are pitching well so far this year. The first thing I looked at is the White Sox just hit lefties. They smack lefties, 291 average, 943 OPS. To me, when I get a situation like that, I'm looking at the White Sox. I haven't done a lot of full game wagers, but I'd potentially look at the White Sox first 5. Last year, Lester had a decent a couple of outings against the White Sox. He did get touched up last time out, 5 runs and 9 hits to Milwaukee. And then you got Keuchel, who got his 10 ground ball outs. He's just so reliable when it comes to that. He only had 8 swinging strikes in 93 pitches last start for the White Sox. To me, I'm looking at I was about to say Chicago. I'm looking at the White Sox first 5 here to hope that they continue to smack lefties around.
Yeah, Dave, I was going to say I'll guarantee Chicago wins this game, but we could always get a rain out, I guess. But what Chicago team do you like here?
Well, the one thing that jumped out to me right away is the fact that the breeze at least is blowing out. And that does bring in to the mix the type of pitchers that are going in this game. Everybody knows what Keuchel does. He gets ground balls. When he's commanding his stuff, and he has been commanding it very well so far this season, he gets a ton of ground balls. Lester is not nearly as much of a ground ball pitcher. He's only, around 40% now. He used to be a better ground ball pitcher than he is now. He was more closer to 48, 50%. But now he's down around 40%. So the ball's in the air a little more with Lester than it is with Keuchel. And that is something, Lester's, and this is something just food for thought. Aside from 2007 with the Red Sox, when his fly ball percentage was extremely high, this is the closest Lester's ever been to being an extreme fly ball pitcher. It's 43.1% so far this season. That's a little bit of a red flag as far as Wrigley when the wind is blowing out. So my lean's to the White Sox here. I also think but just about anybody's got a better bullpen than the Cubs. So the White Sox might have an advantage as far as that goes. So I would maybe slightly disagree. I think the White Sox might be better full game than first 5. I like their pen more. If I had to play this, I'd go with the American League side.
Yeah, I mean, if you really start looking at the stats here, White Sox substantially better offensive numbers for the most part, especially batting average, a better bullpen, as you mentioned, Dave, and can maybe make the argument the better starter. Yeah, Brian, it's only $1.10. They also enter off of 5 straight wins, although granted, the last 4 came against the ice-cold Tigers. Brian, what are your thoughts on the Chicago matchup?
Yeah, it's not very often you find a team that's 16-8 as a home underdog here, especially to cross-town rival White Sox, who haven't been in the playoffs in years. But I agree. If I had to play this, I'd play the White Sox. We talked about how the White Sox hit against lefties. 6-0 on the season against left-handed starters, but the Cubs are also 5-1 on the season against left-handed starters. Keuchel does, as Dave pointed out, Keuchel does stick with the ground balls, but if that wind's blowing out today, we may see both teams go long here. Lean with the White Sox, lean with the over, but doubt if either one will make my card today.
Got you. And that's once again, that's the White Sox, a slight favorite, about a minus $1.10 favorite at the Cubs. That's an 8:15 Eastern game. By the way, that Atlanta-Philly game, a 7 Eastern game. Our last featured game, though, is a late game at 9:40 Eastern, 6:40 Pacific tonight on Friday. And we're going to take a look at the Rockies and Dodgers. You know, the Rockies, Matt, started red hot a few weeks ago. We were talking about how they were overachieving. They have come back down to earth a little bit. Dodgers, once again, I got to give Dave props. He said if you're looking for a big, ugly underdog the other night, the value play, there was never value, as he said, with the Mariners, but you said the price was too high, and the Mariners actually won that one outright on Wednesday when I was on the show. And it once again goes to what I've been saying, Matt. Dodgers run line or just don't play them at all, because they either lose outright or they come back like they did last night and they win 6-1 and cover the run line. Matt Josephs, what are your thoughts here heading into Colorado after a fairly easy series against the Mariners for the Dodgers?
You know, yesterday after the show, I was kicking myself a little bit because we talked about that first 5 under for the Mariners Dodgers game with Kikuchi and Kershaw. And of course, Kikuchi had that terrible inning, and that's what the Dodgers can do. When you look at Walker Buehler, we thought that maybe he was going to turn the corner, and then he has that start last time out. He gives up the 4 earned runs, and he in 4 2/3 innings. He still, it seems like, working his way in. And as we talked about, I want to see more from a pitcher before I get ready to back him. Last year, he had a 5.87 ERA in 5 starts against the Rockies. 2 of those starts came in Coors Field, so you kind of have to adjust the ERA and stuff like that, and adjust the runs allowed. When you look at John Gray, he looked really good. How much of that was against Texas? The thought was his velocity's down a little bit. He had a decent time against the Dodgers last year, 3.48 ERA. The one thing, and I know we'll do DFS later, Cody Bellinger's 10 of 16 against John Gray in his career. So I'm not ready to back Buehler yet. I'm certainly not going to go against the Dodgers here. So maybe you take a look at, if you think Buehler's back or if you think he's going to pitch well, maybe you look at the Dodgers first 5 here minus a half. And that way you kind of get that fast start from an LA lineup that's certainly capable of it.
Yeah, Dave, other than my favorite pitcher, Merrill Kelly, as you guys know, I love Buehler. Buehler, he's back again. It seems like every time I host a show, I get Buehler on the mound. Do you think the Dodgers can keep it going here? Are the Rockies just 2-7 now, their last 9?
Yeah, the Rockies are I keep saying this, and they keep losing too. They're regressing to what I thought they would be, which is a mediocre team. There's just too many bad things in this team. One is, pitching at Coors is a nightmare. So even the better guys in that team can have problems like Marquez, and I think he gets in Marquez's head at some point every season. The other problem is that and people overlook this. It's people have a tendency to look at just pitching and just hitting. The Rockies' defense, if you take, Story and Arenado are a fabulous left side of the infield. The rest of that team defensively is really bad, in my opinion. They've got outfielders who really don't cover a great amount of ground. The right side of the infield is, Daniel Murphy is just horrific with the glove. I'm not crazy about their catchers. I just think there's a lot of weaknesses on this baseball team, and it wouldn't absolutely shock me if they end up finishing last in that division. The Giants probably aren't as good as they are on paper, but the Giants, boy, they're a scrappy. They really are a scrappy baseball team. I know a lot of people can't stand Kapler, but he's got these guys playing with energy all the time. And the Rockies, I don't know. It's just an organization that hasn't won consistently. I think they've made a lot of mistakes in terms of their draft choices, and that's a long way of saying that I don't like them here. They're just playing lousy baseball right now. The Dodgers just keep on rolling. Buehler still hasn't found his stride, but he can survive even when he's not pitching his best ball. I actually think the Dodgers, even at the price, are not a bad play tonight. I think LA is probably a pretty easy winner here.
And Brian, one thing I always do is look at the Rockies' road numbers because they have such a huge offensive edge in that thin air and altitude, and averaging almost 2 runs less a game on the road, batting almost like 80 or 90 points less on the road this year, 208 batting average away from home. Yet they're 6-4. So something doesn't jive there. 1-7, 2-9, their last 11. What are your thoughts, Brian?
Well, when you talk about the Rockies hitting, you also got to talk about their pitching. So when they're not at home, they have a much better pitching situation on the road. I actually used the Rockies as my free play today. I thought there was some value here. You've got, as you mentioned, Colorado 6-4 on the road. A lot of times we'll see most pros don't look at it this way, but a lot of the general sports bettors will look and they'll see that the Dodgers just looked really good against Seattle, where, as we know, Seattle's one of the worst teams in baseball, whereas Colorado just played the Houston Astros, who amazingly continue to win with the guys that they've lost. It's hard for me to believe it. But you've got a Colorado team going in here against one of the biggest name pitchers in Major League Baseball, and Walker Buehler. And Buehler played Colorado last year, a 49 average game score. Now, you mentioned that 2 of those were in Colorado, but the other 3 were at home in L.A., where when you're pitching in L.A., it's a good pitcher's ballpark. So 49 for his last 5 times he's played Colorado, which is actually less than league average of 50. And when you take a look at Walker Buehler, his last 7 starts for all average 40. He has been an average pitcher and average pitcher price when you got Buehler on the line, especially when you got a team like the Dodgers, who many feel are the best team in Major League Baseball. So I don't expect to win the game. This is one of those things where pros will play underdogs in which they don't think they're going to win the game. I know before he has to have a chance to win the game. I look for value. And even though I don't think I'll win this game, the line's telling you the Dodgers are by far the better team here. But I think there's Colorado this situation 100 times. You're going to make money on that underdog. That's what I'm in this for. I'm in this to grind out a prize day point. It's the same thing. I think Colorado's worth the bet here. John Gray's a pretty good pitcher, and you're getting him on the road here in a pitcher environment. And I think it's worth a chance here on the Rockies. I use them as my free play.
And that, of course, is, the difference between pro bettors and recreational bettors. Recreational bettors struggle with baseball because they try to pick the winners, whereas the pro bettors take a long-term approach, an investment approach, and it is all money line based. So you really do have to find value in the numbers, as you do with the point spreads as well. But it's more important when you're doing money lines. Guys, let's do some quick hits here. We'll do like 30 seconds on each game from each of you. And if you don't like anything, as always, just say pass. But if you see some edges, if you see some value, let me know. Matt, I'll start with the first game here. It's a 6 o'clock Eastern game. All these are nighttime games for Friday. So if you're not watching us live right now, you can get the replay, of course, on YouTube each and every day for first pitch. You got a lot of information before these games start. Marlins and Nationals. Matt, this is in your NL East neck of the woods. What are your take on these 2 teams in this matchup in particular tonight?
So I know Hernandez is listed, but Don Mattingly did not say whether or not he's actually going to go. It's still technically a TBA because Castano's start got skipped yesterday. So to me, if Castano starts, I'm looking Nats first 5 because the Nats are the best team when it comes to hitting against the left-handers in baseball. If it's Hernandez, I'm looking first 5 under here because I have more faith in him. Corbin had a 1.55 ERA against the Marlins last year. And the one note here, Miguel Rojas will return and be in the lineup for Miami tonight. So keep your eyes out on the starting pitcher because I think it makes a big difference as who you will take tonight.
Yeah, Dave, the Marlins are finally playing a team that's only played a few more games than they have. 9-9. Nationals are 9-12. What are your thoughts on this one?
Marlins lineup against lefties has been atrocious. I mean, they dink and dunk, and that's about it. I mean, their OPS is like it's just terrible. So Corbin is a guy who should be able to shut them down. I would look at the Nationals here in maybe if you like a 2-team big chalk parlay, the Nationals would be one of the sides to use as one of those legs.
Yeah, right now I've seen them about $1.90 favorite. Brian, what are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, Corbin has done really well against Miami. Last year faced him 4 times, game scores of 83, 75, 68, 59, keeping in mind the average game score is 50. So he's done very well against Miami. But then again, I don't trust this Washington team to lay in a number. Washington at home only 4-8 on the season. Right-handed pitchers, if Fernandez does go, they're 3-10 on the season. Can't lay those kind of prices here. This will be one of them that I'm sitting out.
Nothing wrong with sitting out. One thing I've always said is that we don't have to find an edge in every game, but they have to post a number on every game, and that's where you find your edge as a full-time bettor, is picking and choosing. We'll continue these quick hits. Matt, another game which goes about 6:40 Eastern tonight. Blue Jays and Rays. This game is in Tampa, so it's not in hitter-friendly Buffalo. By the way, the Blue Jays had a little bit of controversy yesterday. I guess they made some homeless shirts since they're not allowed back to Toronto, and they caught a lot of flack for that. But I don't think that'll matter too much in this game. Rays a minus $1.45 favorite over the Jays.
Don't have a ton on this game. The Blue Jays obviously have momentum after yesterday. I don't know how much it'll carry over. I'm not a big Yarbrough guy. I lean to Shoemaker. It's not going to make my card, so move on.
Dave, what are your thoughts? You and I are wearing our Blue Jay and Rays blue today. I guess we have more of the Rays blues on. Is that the way you're leaning?
Yeah, but it looks like a game that's priced pretty right, and I just kind of skipped over it and moved on.
Yeah, here I didn't see much in this either. Brian, anything caught your eye in this one?
No, other than this will be the third time each of those have played the opposition so far this year. Yarbrough has done very well. Game score is 60 and 53. Shoemaker the same, 64 and 50. So they both had success against the opponent this year. Problem is, first time these faced each other was on the 25th. They actually did 25th. So you're looking at, less than a month here. This will be the third time these pitchers have gone against each other. Neither one are dominant pitchers, although Shoemaker can be when he's healthy. I'm looking at kind of like the over here because both teams have struggled with these pitchers earlier. But like I said, third time in a month to see these starters. I think we may see some run.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the one thing that jumps out to me is that the Rays are coming off that huge sweep of the Yankees on the road. They've now won 9 out of 10, and they won the last 2 as underdogs. So now as a favorite after back-to-back dog wins of the Yankees, it was definitely enough to keep me off this game.
This would be one of Marco's fat and happy spots. Fat and sassy.
Sassy.
Yeah,
and the Jays have to travel, but they're all 5 straight wins. Baltimore, Philly, not as much of a letdown spot. So we'll see how that plays out. Although we have noticed, guys, in recent weeks, sometimes teams carry over that momentum to the first game. They come out flat in game 2. So even if the Rays play tough today, they could be flat tomorrow. Of course, first pitch tomorrow, 12 noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. They'll be talking about this game. Dave and Matt will both be here to talk about that one in person. Let's look at an AL East, another AL East matchup, Matt. Red Sox and Orioles. Red Sox have been really bad this year. They've picked it up a little bit since playing the Yankees. One team that we all said was due for regression was the Orioles. No question they overachieved out of the gate. They were doing it offensively. It looks like they've definitely come back down to earth, though.
To me, it's Red Sox first 5 or nothing. Read an article yesterday about how basically this Red Sox team's bullpen is always being used. They've got a lot of tired arms. It looks like that it's going to be Brewer to start. And I don't know, Darwinzian Hernandez will back him up a little bit. Means is only going to go 50 pitches or so. He's had the weird season where he's had to deal with an injury, had to deal with some problems, family issues, and took some time away. He wasn't very good last time out. He's going to be piggybacked by Jorge Lopez, who wasn't very good in Kansas City. So to me, it's Red Sox first 5 or nothing.
Yep, I would agree with that. The Red Sox, they've actually won a couple in a row, so they've got a little positive momentum, and the Orioles are backing up. Look, it's a bad roster. It just is. And they've overachieved so far, but that only continues for so long.
Yeah, and Brian, bad teams have to win at some point. I think we agree the Red Sox are a bad team this year, but that 7-1 win against Baltimore last night and the fact the Orioles have now dropped 5 straight, it does look like kind of momentum's going in 2 directions for these teams.
Yeah, definitely. Baltimore is calling up probably their best hitting prospect, supposed to be the lineup today. Sox can't hit lefties. They're 3-0 the season against lefties. John Means last year faced Boston 5 times, average game score 55. So he's had success. If Means is right, I think there's some value here on Baltimore. Dave's a Red Sox fan. He's pointed out in the past that Brewer wasn't, he didn't think he was a major league pitcher. But I like, as you mentioned, Darwinian possibly pitching in here. He hasn't pitched in a while, but I like his long-term success here. I think he's going to have he's going to be one of their better pitchers by the end of the season. Lean with the Orioles here, but they're just playing so badly right now. The offense, 3 of the last 4 games, score 2 runs or less. I'd like to get there with Baltimore. I don't think I will, but that's where I'm leaning right now.
Yeah, Red Sox currently $1.15 favorite. So although Baltimore's ice cold, you're playing one of the worst teams in baseball as a road favorite if you fade them. and the total is 10 to the under right now. It's the highest total on the board in any game today. Orioles, as you mentioned, have really cooled off offensively. Let's look at a National League matchup here at 7 Eastern. Brewers Pirates. Brewers, Matt, about $1.35 road favorite at Pittsburgh. Pretty cheap price considering how bad the Pirates have been this year.
My play on sportsmemo.com is in this game, so I will pass it on to Dave.
I like it. What do you think, Dave?
This is a game where, I probably should take a shot with the Pirates in the first 5. Cole's been good. I mean, he looks great. And Hauser has had a lot of problems first time through the lineup, and Milwaukee is coming out of a big series against what I think, particularly this year, is a rival in the Twins. Even though they're in different leagues, that's a geographical rivalry, and that's one of the ones they play in interleague every year anyway. It's actually not a bad spot for the Pirates, but boy, I mean, it is just. And the line, by the way, looks very inviting to take the Brewers. Those are all things that point me to the other team. But God, they've got 4 wins the whole season. I don't think they give a rat's ass whether they win or not. I really don't. I think they're just mailing it in. And it's really difficult for me to play teams like that. I'm kind of like that with the Red Sox. I did play them first 5 last night because I really, really like the Eovaldi edge over Wojciechowski and thought he might dominate the Orioles, and he did. But they're better than the Orioles, okay? Even though they suck, they're better than the Orioles. The Pirates, as much as I like the pitching edge here, they're just not better than the Brewers, and I just can't trust them in any game. So it's a play that I think the Pirates' first 5 is a decent play, but I didn't bet it myself, so I can't really recommend it.
Yeah, Brian, the Pirates are now 4-17 on the season. That's a 190 win percentage. Now, I know they're only playing 60 games. Teams might toss the towel more, or maybe they have tossed the towel before it began, but I mean, we're never going to see a team finish with a 190 win percentage. Maybe this year we do, but this does look like a winnable game for the Pirates. And as Dave said, a little bit of a pitching edge, but then again, it's not much of a price, for a 4-17 team to only be getting plus 125.
But that actually is something that to me is inviting. I mean, it's one of those. Would be the fishy line.
Oh yeah,
game of the day, and those don't lose. I mean, those are pretty good plays.
Yeah, Brian, we were talking about public consensus the other day on this show. I haven't checked this one. I'll pull it up here, but I would think it's a heavy public consensus on the short favorite, probably.
Yeah, it could be. Let's see what I have for the opener. I had money's come in on Pittsburgh. Milwaukee opened at 158. Now we're seeing like the high 130s. I disagree with Dave. I think Pittsburgh's the worst team in baseball. I said it before the season.
Oh, they are the worst team in baseball.
You think Pittsburgh's worse than Baltimore?
Oh yeah, I think it's between Pittsburgh and Seattle.
Seattle, yeah.
That's the battle for the two, and that's going to be the battle for Rocker. Tanking for Rocker.
Yeah,
because that kid's going to be the first round. He's going to be the first pick.
Just imagine a few years ago, and in fact, 2018. I remember when Pittsburgh wasn't very good. Milwaukee, CC Sabathia and a whole bunch. Milwaukee could never beat Pittsburgh. Now the last 2 seasons, Milwaukee's 17-5, so it's turned around. Milwaukee's been dominating Pittsburgh. You mentioned Cole. Cole's done very well. 61 average game scores last 5 against Milwaukee, but 1 was in 2018, 2 or 3 in 2017, 1 in 2016. So it's been a few years since he's faced them. So you have to take that with a little bit of a grain of salt. I don't want any part of Pittsburgh. Entire Cleveland Pittsburgh series. There was not a time in any game where I thought the Pirates were going to win that game. It was just a confidence level. You could see it in the faces of the Cleveland Indians. You could see it in the faces of the Pirates. Get out of the game. They didn't have to want to go into you face it that seems to be throwing in the towel like this. Was it their owner just got COVID, or one of the people in the front office just got COVID? Nothing right now. I play Milwaukee, but the line's a little bit too high for me.
By the way, the first 5 line in that game is Brewers only minus 115. That's really interesting.
Well, that tells you why they priced it the way they did. It's all based on the starting pitcher, basically.
If you're into line reading and market analysis, Pirates' first 5 might not be a bad wager, in my opinion. I might get on that.
Yeah, once again, if you believe they're going to have a better than 190 win percentage at 4-17, you got to figure this is one of the games they might get. But then again, you're backing the worst team in baseball at a short price. So we'll see what happens. Hey, speaking of bad teams, once again, Tigers are ice cold, 9 straight losses.
Yeah, but it's more than 9 straight losses. It's 20. They've lost 20 in a row to the Indians.
Yeah, that's right. Because that's right. They got swept. In fact, Dave, start with this one real quick for me.
It's unbelievable.
They got swept by 3 last weekend. How much stock do you put into that? I mean, obviously,
I put a lot of stock into that.
Do you really? Okay.
Yes. I mean, the team's lost 9 in a row, and now they're facing a team they've lost 20 in a row to. How confident can they be? No, seriously. That's like taking the field. That's like me stepping in the ring with I don't know. The heavyweight champion. I mean, it's like I got no shot here. I mean, no, this is easy. You throw the Indians, and if you're betting a money line parlay today, the Indians have got to be in there for you.
Yeah, Brian, I always say it's either, sometimes there's games I don't have something like this, but it's Indians or pass for me. And then when I start thinking more about it, if it's that easy where it's Indians or pass, I probably should be on the Indians. I know you follow Cleveland closely. What do you make of them? By the way, they're 13-0 this year when they score 3 runs or more. Is that incredible?
It's been amazing. If they get some runs, this pitching staff has just been tremendous. Plutko is obviously the weakest link they've got. They're bringing up Tristan McKenzie. They're not tomorrow for that. He's been a guy that they've been waiting on for a few years now, and injuries continue to push him back. So if he can come into town, the way this Cleveland pitching coaching staff for the pitchers can work with these players, it could be he may not leave Cleveland. They may just keep Clevenger and Plesac down there until they get that extra year of eligibility. But not only has Cleveland beaten Detroit 20 straight games, even in 2018, before all this happened, it's been complete dominance from Cleveland against Detroit. And Cleveland's one of those teams that they'll give up a home run once in a while, but they don't give up a lot of base runners. And that's the thing. When you're playing a team that doesn't have a lot of home run power like Detroit, chances are they're not going to get on the board for very much in this game. It'd have to be Cleveland or nothing for me. But do you really want to lay that kind of price with Cleveland's worst starter? The bullpen obviously is rested. They had their best 2 or 3 guys go last night for an inning apiece, just more of a rust situation. Is Bieber only went, I believe, 6 innings to get his 11 strikeouts last night. Just tremendous season. But the Indians are not there for me, and I'm not one of those guys that play a lot of big favorites, so I would be setting it up.
Yeah, Matt, I won't waste too much more time on it, but can you make a case for the Tigers, or is it Cleveland or pass for you?
Well, for me, I looked at this, and I unfortunately had the first 5 under last time these two teams played on the 16th, and I'm dangerously close to doing it again. The one thing that concerned me was Michael Fulmer after the game basically said, I don't know why I got pulled, but he admitted it's hard to start pitching with a pitch count or innings limit. This is me channeling my inner Teddy Covers reading quotes here, But for me, look, I don't trust this Indians offense. And to me, if they had a good enough pitcher to go through those first 5 innings, like when I take a first 5 innings under, I need to have a reliable pitcher like Bieber yesterday, like whoever. And I don't think I can get it with Fulmer or Plutko here. So while I, fool me once, shame on me, I'm not going to do fool me twice, shame on you, because I'm not doing it again.
All right, and a quick note, Fulmer sounds like a guy who wants out of Detroit.
Who doesn't?
Well, yeah. Good point.
Well, and yeah, I think that's something we have to keep an eye on. When a team starts and overachieves like they have, or the Orioles, and now they get cold with this bubble, with this shortened season, I think buyer beware with these teams that are in a slump more than ever right now. Guys, we got about 6-7 games. I've got about 6 or 7 minutes.
Let's go.
Let's do 20-second hits. If you got nothing, tell me pass. But we're putting our speed dating hats on here. Matt, I'll start with you. We'll go around the horn. Twins, Royals. Twins minus 145, or Odorizzi against Duffy.
Crazy that both of these pitchers are facing the same team for the 3rd straight time. Odorizzi's only faced KC. This is the 3rd straight time for Duffy. I'm looking at the over here. I think Duffy's not that good, and I think Odorizzi's still working to form. I like the Royals lineup here, so I'm looking at the over in this one.
I don't like the spot for Minnesota coming off the big series against the Brewers. And they got swept the last time they were in Kansas City, so they've had some trouble here. You maybe want to take a gamble on a dog. Maybe this is a spot to take a chance on the Royals.
Yeah, and Brian, let me know if you know anything on this, and also Reds Cardinals while I got you.
Yeah, this is not only are they playing the third straight time, this is in 13 days you're facing the starting pitcher for the third time. I like Kansas City here. The Twins only 3-4 against lefties, 14-5 against righties. So that's a nice situation for him. Duffy's last time out, he did get a 64 game score, 39 before that. I prefer Kansas City here. I think there's a little bit of value on him.
And I'll keep you in Missouri, Brian. What are you looking at? Anything in the Cardinals? $1.10 over the Reds, 9 under.
That one I have nothing on.
What do you think, Dave? Anything on that one?
No, neither do I. I don't know what to make of this Sclafani, who looked great for 2 starts and then just absolutely bombed in his last start. No, I've got conflicting stuff on this one and passed it quickly.
Matt, any thoughts on Reds Cardinals? Any value there?
Well, the big thing out of his last start was he tipping pitches? The fastball velocity was there. He says he wasn't tipping pitches. Some of the video says he was. So that's something to watch. As we say, I'm not going to pay to have him do it. I want to see him do it before I get on him.
Something to keep an eye on there. I like it. Let's look at the later West Coast game. The god-awful Mariners, as we talked about, are only a slight talk. So the Pirates and Mariners are both small underdogs tonight. Texas only $1.15 favorite, Matt, against the Mariners.
For my health and sanity, I will not touch any game involving Allard or Margavicius. Pass it over to Dave.
A guess on the Mariners. Guess means I'm not betting on it. Not even close.
What do you think, Brian?
Matchup of 2 left-handed starters. You don't see that very often. But, yeah, the line's about what I made it, so I'm passing on that one.
Yeah, the Mariners did have that big upset of the Dodgers, came back down to earth with the 6-1 loss yesterday. Obviously, a huge step down in class after playing L.A. and Houston, but not sure that'll matter for the Mariners. Matt, let me ask you about this next game here we haven't touched on, and that's Houston-San Diego. Astros starting to play much better baseball. Padres continue to smash it. They just either tied or set a record 4 straight games, I think, with a grand slam. San Diego about $1.30 favorite over the Astros, Matt.
Yeah, I'm not getting in front of the Astros. McCullers has pitched better his last 2 starts, but it was against Seattle and San Francisco, who aren't exactly murderers row or anything like that. So it's either McCullers or pass for me.
What do you think, Dave?
That price is getting interesting. This keeps going up. I might just have to take the Astros just on value. Team's on fire right now. I made Padres 110 here. It's getting to the point where I'm going to have to give it late consideration on the dog.
Yeah, Brian, if you had told me when the season began the Astros would be on an 8-game win streak and they'd be an underdog to the Padres, that would have surprised us, I think.
Yeah, it's amazing the Astros are continuing to win with the situations they have. Their players, they've got all the key players are getting hurt. Interesting to note that you take a look at the pitchers. I really like the 2 pitchers. They've been pitching very well. Problem is, I think the Padres are a little bit overrated right now. If I'm a sportsbook manager for fun, my prop today would be, will San Diego Grand?
Yeah.
I know.
They're hot. They're going to do it. They've done it 4 times in a row. That's how a sportsbook makes money, is they put up something that the public wants to bet, knowing they're going to give a terrible line to it, and the public's going to continue to bet it. That's what I would do if I ran a sports book. But I think the under here is probably the way to go. I like these pitchers for him right now. And is San Diego going to hit that grand slam? They're not going to do it again today. I guarantee it. I like the under in this one.
Well, yeah, put it this way. It's never happened once in 100+ some years of baseball. If they do it today, it would be the first time. So I like the minus 1,500 or whatever price we would have gotten on that prop. It's like an NFL Super Bowl prop where you lay the big juice is the only time you do it. Matt, so we got 2 games left, and I want to get to the fantasy stuff. So we'll go quick on these 2. Angels, A's. Angels have gotten back on track recently, but not a great team. A's look like a solid team, yet they're a home dog here, Matt Joseph.
I will repeat what I said earlier. Heaney and Fires, 2 guys I want nothing to do with. Heaney does have really good numbers against the A's in his career, but he's got an 8.68 ERA over his last 2 starts. No, thank you.
Good thing for Heaney he's really stretched out now. I think that does him good. Threw over 100 pitches last time out, and I think he needs to know that the leash has been taken off just from a mental standpoint, because Madden had been yanking him early. I don't want any part of Mike Fiers. I said this every time we talk Mike Fiers in the show. I think Fiers is a candidate to get blasted this year. I don't like his stuff. I don't like his diminished velocity. He's given up a lot of home runs, and the Angels can hit the ball out of the park. But there's no possibility I can bet the Angels right now. They're an awful baseball team. Just on where the line is, I'd probably have to go Oakland.
Yeah, and Brian, can I interest you in a road favorite that is 8-18 against a home team that's 18-8, and the road favorite, by the way, is 1-7 their last 8.
How weird is that line?
Yeah, this is a game because this is my one play for the day, and we'll go on to the next game.
And I don't know what side Brian's on, so don't let my sarcasm let the viewers think I know, because I stayed away from this game. But just like the Pittsburgh game, Matt's got to play in the Milwaukee-Pittsburgh game at sportsmemo.com. Brian's got to play in this Oakland-LA game, wagertalk.com. And there's some fishy lines, but that doesn't necessarily mean what side they're on. These guys are sharp. They know how to take advantage of these games. Last one, guys, and we'll get to some fantasy. Let's look at Diamondbacks and Giants. Another short road favorite here, Matt. Diamondbacks minus $1.10, minus $1.15. Ray over Webb at San Fran.
I'll make this easy. Robbie Ray's a roller coaster I want nothing to do with. I tried fading him last time out. It didn't work out. I mean, he has very good stuff, but the walks are killer and the home runs are killer. I don't know if the Giants could take advantage. No opinion here.
This actually is my best bet today. So
Here we go.
You want to get that one? It's at wagertalk.com right now.
And I'll remind the viewers once again, you can get 50% off it, but if you're smart, if you're serious about making money all season, do a direct subscription. I actually had someone contact me the other day after Wednesday's show when we popped this up. Someone went and got an annual package for Dave right away, and they are benefiting. He's 21-8 this year in baseball already. Plenty more to come. Wagertalk.com. And Brian Leonard, you've got best bets at Wagertalk.com. You've got any lean here in the Arizona-San Fran game?
I used San Fran as my play yesterday. Nice wire-to-wire winner. San Francisco on the season, as bad as they're against righties. They're 6-5 against lefties. And Robbie Ray is very inconsistent, as we all know.
And Matt, I'm going to hit you up for the daily fantasy. I know you're kind of the expert here on the panel for DFS. What are you looking at today? And once again, Matt Josephs is at sportsmemo.com. We're at Wager Talk, but Matt's got Sports Memo, not to himself, but on the show he's got it to himself. And 4-0 sweep the last 2 nights. And Matt's got more baseball best bets for Friday at sportsmemo.com. Matt, what you looking at for DFS?
Well, so as everybody likes to know, I like to go cheaper on the pitchers so I can fit in more hitters. I'm going Hauser tonight for Milwaukee. I know that there has been some bad mouth. There were some people that thought maybe he was not going to pitch as well. He's 7,400 on FanDuel. I'll give Rafael Devers out again at 2,800 because that's really cheap for him. And then I'm loading up on the big hitters for the White Sox, Jimenez and Abreu. I think they continue their hot stretch against Leicester.
I like that. I like that idea, especially with the breeze. It's not a big wind, but it's still a breeze blowing out at Wrigley. I think taking right-handed hitters in that game might be a good advantage against 2 lefties, but particularly against Leicester. And I'll go expensive again on a pitcher. I gave Bieber out yesterday. I like Corbin today against the Miami team. He should handle.
Yeah, I like the breeze angle. That over-under, again, 9.5 at Wrigley. Brian, any offenses you think will be hot or any shutdown starting pitchers maybe tonight on Friday?
I will just give the fantasy situation. When you're playing in a league and you want to win it all, you've got to go against everybody else. So while everybody is using the star pitchers, you never use the star pitchers. You want to use guys that nobody's thinking of. I always like lefties making their first major league start. Nobody knows anything about them. I know Dave and I have talked about this for years. If you can find a lefty out there that's not being charged much, bet on him and go from there and make your money off the hitters.
Yeah, I like that. And you definitely have to kind of take a game theory approach with fantasy because, once again, you're in the large contest, you're playing against the masses, and the masses put in multiple lineups, and they hope to hit one of those off lineups. So it's a great point. Hey, guys, great show as always. Once again, we're at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific weekdays, but we're back for bonus episodes this weekend. Seen some viewers in the chat already excited about it. Matt Josephs will be hosting Saturday and Sunday. Dave Koken will be here both days. I'll be here Sunday as well. Once again, MLB First Pitch Weekend Edition, noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific, right here on Wager Talk TV. And I'll be back in about 10 minutes here with NBA Tip-Off live at 3 p.m. Eastern for more NBA playoff action. Once again, I do have a 5% NBA play going this afternoon at wagertalk.com, so be sure to check that out. Hey, guys, great show. Good luck tonight, and we'll be back tomorrow on Saturday at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific for First Pitch.